The following is a presentation of the BellyUpSports Media Network.
The ball sends it over to Edward Robles. Go! Insert name FC! Let's go! Insert name FC! What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast and member of the BellyUpSports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcast at Insert Name FC. Also, check out the video clips. So, kind of to make this more digestible on the video platform is that we actually break these full episodes into video clips. So that way it's a little bit easier to digest on YouTube. So on YouTube at Insert Name FC. You can also find us on GolzTV. GolzTV is a great streaming platform for all things soccer content made here in the US of A. So go ahead and check them out over there. You can find us there, as well as you'll see me every once in a while on Yanks to the Round Table and Wake Up MLS. So be on the lookout for that as well. Follow us on all social media platforms at Instagram and the X at Insert Name FC. Check us out also on TikTok at insert.name.fc. We post reels and TikToks all over there from these episodes, so you guys can get a little taste of what is going on here at Insert Name FC, and hoping that you guys get some intrigue. So please go ahead and check us out as well over there. But yeah, so episode 184, this episode is going to be just me. So probably go by a little bit quicker than usual, but, try my best to say all that I need to say, and try to make it, as long as, I mean, if I can make an hour, I think that's impressive. So that's just me. But yeah, this episode is going to have, obviously, my overreaction from this past weekend. Headlines. We're going to talk about João Felix going to Chelsea. The NWSL's CBA announcement. A huge announcement from that CBA. Mason Greenwood, fortunately. We're going to recap the 2024 Leagues Cup final and give you guys players of the week, give you guys some games to look forward to this coming weekend. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. But maybe I'll do something at the end. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, but we'll see. All right. But with all that being said, man, yeah, another episode. Time to kick back and relax and enjoy episode 184. So we're going to go ahead and take a break.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right, guys. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter at InsertNameFC. Also check us out on TikTok at insert.name.fc so you guys can see our posts when these episodes drop. Of course, also clips from these episodes that we have. So if you guys you're not entirely sure yet about listening to Insert Name FC, well, check out those clips and see if you guys are intrigued from those clips. I mean, it seems to be doing fairly well. So once again, at Insert Name FC on Instagram and the X and on TikTok at insert.name.fc for TikTok. So there we go. But all right, overreactions from this past weekend, man. Oof, Manchester United, bro. Whoa, this is starting to get a little out of hand, man. Obviously coming off of a 3-0 loss to Liverpool. It's been a rough outing for Manchester United, man. There's uh I don't know. I really don't know, man. Obviously you come off of a win against I believe it was Fulham that Manchester United played for the opening week. And then having to uh obviously suffer a loss again. So you get a what you scrape a 1-0 victory against Fulham. Say what you want. Yes, it's a scraping. 87 minute. Yeah, it's a scraping. Um, but it was like, hey, you got the win. That's all that matters, right? Then you go into Brighton, a match that, yeah, it wasn't looking good. But honestly, in hindsight, if you watched the game, you would have said that Manchester United definitely were the better team. But that doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you got to put one in the back of net, and that's what Brighton did. They won 2-1, and now you go here to this 3-0 shellacking. And I mean, yeah. I mean, statistically, possession was very 50-50. But I mean, obviously, just unfortunate shots, man. Just unfortunate that nothing went in the back of the net. Um, I wouldn't say it was Liverpool's best performance, but like I said, when it came down to it, they're the ones that scored the goals, and Manchester United didn't. So yeah, really, just a rough stretch of games right now for Manchester United, and it's there's a lot of pressure now, right? Ten Hag, they kept him. For what reason, people still don't know. But I mean, I'm gonna say people are gonna back off a little bit, at least initially, because their next match is against Barnsley, which I mean that's Carabao Cup. Yeah. So Barnsley, you're gonna have Crystal Palace. Maybe that could be a win for them. They're gonna need that to be a win. Um, you're gonna have an Europa League match. Uh, that's like on the 25th, and then you got Tottenham. Tottenham is gonna be the at the end of the month. You got Tottenham, which could be that could be one of those where you definitely want to get some points off of, and yeah, there's pressure on Manchester United, man. Once again, like, it's funny because when I was recording Wake Up MLS over at GolzTV, we were talking about this a little bit, and I said it. I was like, if Manchester United and Chelsea are almost identical to each other, they've been spending a lot of money, and it hasn't really been panning out. The only difference is obviously, Chelsea has been going through coaches, whereas Manchester United has been sticking with Ten Hag, at least as of right now. But almost identical teams. Both have been performing very rough as far as where the expectations are for those two teams. But yeah, man, Manchester United, it's not looking good for them right now. It's they need something, man. They need something. They need something to start clicking right away, or else. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Ten Hag might be getting the sack at some point. I know that a lot of people are criticizing Casemiro, and I really do think Casemiro is he's just not up for it anymore, man. He's just not up for this level. He's just not, man. He should have gone to Saudi. He should have got one more big paycheck. But yeah, he was definitely a massive problem in that Liverpool game. Yeah, you can't have results like that, man. You just can't. And this is someone that obviously appreciates everything that Casemiro has done because I'm a Madridista, but yeah, it's not a good look for Casemiro. And I mean, big props to his wife for trying to like hype him up. Like, you telling me my husband sucks, but look, here's all his trophies. It doesn't justify anything. I mean, yes, he has pedigree, but that just means that he's not the same guy from years ago. He's not the guy that was part of that amazing midfield of Modric, Cruz, and him. So, I mean, touche, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know what to say for that one. But yeah, man, Manchester United, they need something needs to work out for them. I thought that they were going to be very interesting this season. Clearly, I was partially wrong on that. It's also still very early. I also want to point that out. It's still very early in the season to be criticizing anything just yet, but it's Manchester United, man. There's going to be so much pressure, so much press on them, that it's going to affect them in some form. So I do think that the pressure is on for Manchester United, and it's also because of the fact, like I said, it's a team of that magnitude that there's going to be constant pressure from the media, and so it's just that's how it's going to be for them right now. But yeah, Manchester United, they're in I would say definitely in the team meeting phase of, yeah, we need to figure something out. I think that's where they're at now. Like they need to have like a players only meeting and try to get something going because yeah, Ten Hag isn't staying anytime soon if they keep getting results like this. Um, yeah, it's going to be very alarming. It's still early in the season, so I don't want the panic button to be brought up yet. But I mean, if you know how Manchester United fans, if you know how Manchester media is, the panic button is definitely something that they're looking at right now. So yeah, there's that. But all right, headlines, man. So first things off, the Carabao Cup, man. Fans are not happy with the drawing of the third round of the EFL Cup. If you guys don't know what the Carabao Cup is, there's in the Premier League, outside of Champions League, like if Champions League, like UEFA tournaments weren't involved, you're potentially capable of winning 3 trophies in the Premier League. That is obviously the Premier League title, the FA Cup, and the EFL Cup or Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup is an interesting tournament because I think while some people try to praise it's one of those tournaments where it's like it's kind of like the FA Cup in some sense, because it's an open tournament. It goes all throughout all levels of the English Football Federation, and yeah, so that's where like it's interesting. That's what I mean by it because like yeah it's the same as the FA Cup. It's just it's another tournament that could be won. Though a lot of people don't necessarily put it on the highest of priorities. I think depending on how your season's going, essentially it's like the U.S. Open Cup to MLS, where it's like, if your season isn't going too well, but you got the Open Cup, you're like, hey, well at least we got this, kind of thing. Some people treat it like a priority, some people don't. That's kind of where I'm trying to express when it comes to the Carabao Cup. And fans are not happy with the drawing. So, and the reason why is because fans feel that, well, they see it as that, especially with the drawing, that there was favoritism towards the Big Six. And if you guys don't know who the Big Six is in the Premier League, it is Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and for some fucking odd reason, Tottenham. And so I think, and the reason why they feel that there's favoritism is because the EFL did make a rule that any club playing European football will be drawn with a round 2 winner instead of each other. So essentially, the Big Six, which maybe not, well, maybe not all the Big Six. Well, actually, I think they're all competing in some form of European tournament. So actually, yeah. So the rule is as long as you're playing in a European tournament, so Champions League, Europa League, or Europa Conference League, you'll be drawn to a winner from the round 2 of the Carabao Cup. And so also to explain that, there are rounds in the Carabao Cup. Not every team has to play in each round. So round 3 that's when you kind of start seeing the Premier League teams compete. But yeah, so some people were just kind of like, hey, what the fuck? This isn't how we want it. Like it's like, oh, you just want them to play against an inferior opponent and keep them in to go deep in the tournament. I can see that. I could definitely see that. Some people were saying that football is dead and all that stuff. But we're also talking about the Carabao Cup. But I think obviously the outrage is that, how is it that these teams are going to be prioritized? And the reason, and obviously it's because if these teams aren't in near the end of the tournament, it becomes very, I guess, like viewership wise, and when I mean viewership wise, I mean like people outside of these EFL markets aren't gonna want to watch it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, Carabao Cup. Do I watch I'll watch the final if conveniently I'm able to. I'm not gonna go out of my way, pull up my phone while I'm at work to watch the final. That's what basically I'm telling y'all. But if I'm able to, I'll watch the final. And it's usually because it's like Manchester City versus Chelsea or Liverpool versus Manchester City. It's kind of one of those, and it is because of the Big Six. So I guess the argument does get validated as to why EFL is making that rule possible. But that doesn't guarantee that like the round 2 winner is going to be an easy opponent. I mean, yes, would it be inferior to a team that spends millions and millions of dollars? Definitely, but I think what we learned in these tournaments, sometimes shit happens, but I can also see I can see the reason why the fans are getting irritated by it. Also, I mean, I do believe that these huge Premier League teams, they end up getting home field advantage versus the smaller team, or at least I guess the underdog, which I've made that argument also for US Open Cup, that that the MLS team should be going to the other team's stadium, like play in their field, because I feel like that benefits that team more, and I feel the same way about this as well. And then it provides a challenge. I think that's where it provides the challenge, like how strong is the home field advantage for the other team versus a big six, if you will. And so, and then also I think like attendance isn't necessarily great for these matches. I could be wrong on that, but I think unless it's the final, I don't think frankly people care about it too much enough to go out of their way to go show up to watch this match. So I can see the frustration from fans, right? That they're basically catering this tournament to the teams that they feel is going to get the most bang for their buck. But also in the argument though, it's just not a lot of people are going to want to see these other teams play and deep in these tournaments. And I mean, more often than not, like the Big Six eventually ends up going pretty far in the tournament anyways. I mean, from the occasional choke job that one of them will do. But yeah, I think, yes, the outrage is granted. That's warranted. It should be a fairly open opportunity to that you don't know the mystery of you're not knowing who you're going to go up against. But I would also say, and I kind of once again I see the flaw in it, because once again all these teams I believe are in some sort of European competition. But that means that if these guys aren't in a European competition, it's very possible that they would draw against each other if they weren't playing in a European competition. But it's just more often than not, these guys are the ones competing in European competitions. So it's a very tricky setup. I know, and I think it's specifically only for this round. After that, the drawing is the drawing. But I can see the frustration from fans, but then I can also see that EFL's got to make money somehow from this, and they know that, if these teams, and even though they're not saying the Big Six, they're talking about the teams that are competing for European competition. So they're not saying it, but they're also kind of saying it, because the teams that would be in those competitions would be the Big Six. And so for that, yeah, I can see the frustration for fans. It is disheartening, but like, you got to protect your asset, right? You got to protect it in some way, and so I can also see it from the EFL's perspective. But yeah, it is kind of shady. It kind of sucks. So I definitely feel for them in that form of fashion. But we'll see, man. We'll see how this pans out. We'll see if what fans decide to do. Will they boycott the Carabao Cup? We'll see. We'll see how that all transpires. But we'll move on from that. All right. Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadipCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports. CONMEBOL, South America, obviously they have made their decision in what happened in the semifinal Copa America. So if you guys don't know what happened in Copa America, a fight broke out after the semifinal between Uruguay and Colombia. Uruguayan players took to the stands, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is unprofessional. This team, it was just not a good look in general, right?" And that was weird. So getting back into this, players broke out. There was some frustration from Uruguay. Obviously, it was a very contested match. It was a 1-0 win for Colombia, and they moved on to the final where they lost to Argentina. But so things got heated at the end of the game, and then the Uruguayan players ended up going to the stands. The section that they went specifically was the family and friends section, where all the Uruguayan family and friends were at. And from what it was appearing, it seemed from what we were being told, it was that some of the Colombian fans were attempting to attack that section. And so then obviously the Uruguayans went over there to protect their family and friends, which I as someone that values my, and not as I don't want to say values my family, but I mean, yes, I do value my family, but I mean, what I'm saying is that as someone, I can kind of understand that part, right? Hey, that's my, I'm going to protect my family. Family comes first. Like, fuck all this shit, don't touch my family kind of thing. But at the same time, obviously you kind of want cooler heads to prevail here. You want to make sure security is top notch. And I think just, you would hope that fans could be cordial, and that's never the case in south of the border. And yeah, it was concerning. It obviously didn't look good. Some people were thinking that Uruguay was just being salty after losing to Colombia. But then as soon as they mentioned that part about the family, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I totally get it." A lot of people changed their tunes, and I mean, respectively so. I think everyone would have that same mentality if they felt that their family was endangered. But obviously, still at the end of the day, it's not professional. It's not a good look for them, for players going out and attacking fans. Because once again, we're not entirely sure what exactly happened. We're just being told what the player saw, and so we still haven't. At least I haven't gotten that other side of the story. But still not a good look for them. But obviously, CONMEBOL needs to make a decision as to punishing these players, and so they decided to put bans and fines on players, and so here are who was punished. Darwin Nunez was the one that got the biggest punishment. He is banned for 5 games for Uruguay and was given a $20,000 fine. Rodrigo Bentancur has 4 games and a $16,000 fine, and Matias Oliveira, Ronald Rajo, Jose Maria Jimenez all got 3-game suspensions with $12,000 fine each. And of course, there was also 7 other Uruguayan players. They did not list them, but they also were fined $5,000 each. But that's a lot of those are a lot of significant matches. Uruguay is currently second place in CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. Their next 5 matches include Paraguay, at Venezuela, at Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. I think I think essentially essentially I think Uruguay will be fine. Will be just fine. I think the key missing the big losses is Ronald Rajo and Jose Maria Jimenez. just because of what they play in positionally. I think Matias Oliveira is also another big loss. Darwin Nunez, obviously, he is important to Uruguay, but I think those are just games where they're just gonna have to be like Luis Suarez. How much can you give us? Uh, so it's either that or just another Uruguayan could just step up and take over that striker position. But um, you know, because I do think that they're going to, as far as Darwin Nunez, because you know, missing Darwin Nunez for the Ecuador and Colombia game, as well as Bentaker, I think those are two huge losses going into the Ecuador and Colombia game, because I think Paraguay, Venezuela, and Peru we're gonna miss these guys, but I think we can manage it with these guys, you know. So I think that's where I'm thinking of for that part. But yeah, it's you got to punish them. I don't think I would ever like say do not punish the Orion players. Like they were, it was out of line. Despite of what the sentiment was, it still needed to be addressed and still need to be punished to them. But we're gonna see how deep Uruguay is. I think that's the one thing we'll take from it is how deep is this Uruguayan squad, and can they manage in these next 3 to 5 matches without some of their players. Luckily, you're going to have Araujo and Jimenez back for that Ecuador Colombia game, so I think that's a good thing. Well, as far as the suspensions, I think that because those, like I said, Ecuador and Colombia to me is the most important ones, because those are going to be very defining matches. Venezuela obviously has gotten increasingly better, but Colombia and Ecuador, I think, are two that you don't want to lose your best players in. So I think positively wise, getting Ronald Araujo and Jose Maria Jimenez back for that match, though I'm not entirely sure, because for that call up, do you call these two up and knowing you're not going to play them in Peru, but play them in Ecuador? I think that's like, how do you go about it with that? Maybe they don't call them up at all because you're only going to be able to use them for one game. But that one game is Ecuador, so I think I think it's gonna be interesting to see how Bielsa manages Uruguay for those international breaks, man, because it's gonna be interesting to see the rotation for the team and who steps up during these suspensions for sure. Maybe Uruguay ends up trying to fight the suspensions and try to minimize the punishments. I don't know yet. I haven't read anything up on it. It seems like Uruguay is just accepting it, and so that's all I got to say for that. But all right, the transfer window has concluded, and we're gonna talk about it. So, like I said on the podcast, man, I think this is probably one of the most quiet international transfer windows. Did people make moves? Yes, but at the same time, it's just like there was nothing like, oh my god, wow, kind of. That's where I'm going off of, is like no one made that significant signing that I feel changes the atmosphere of the leagues. And I mean, a lot of people are gonna say, what about Kylian Mbappe? Like, Real Madrid was already a heavy favorite to win the Champions League without Mbappe. With Mbappe, I don't think it necessarily changed anything for Real Madrid. Just that now they have Kylian Mbappe. Also, I want to point out to everybody that was saying that Mbappe is washed. I know scoring a tap in and a penalty kick isn't gonna do it, but I'm just saying, like, it worked. So, let's start things off with winners and losers of the transfer window. My winners is Manchester City. You do your shadiness to get Savio on your roster, and then you got Gundogan back for free. I think that yes, you lost Julian Alvarez, but like, you got Savio, and I think that essentially you just replace Julian Alvarez with a Savio, and I think you're fine. And then getting back Gundogan, a key player for Pep, for free. Man City, just smart business by Man City. alone. Did they get anything crazy this summer? Not really, but I don't think they really needed to. So there's that. I will say Atletico Madrid is another winner for me. I think going after and getting Conor Gallagher, you got rid of João Felix, and then you gain a Conor Gallagher and a Julian Alvarez. I think that is solid business on its own. Kind of going back to Atletico Madrid. Yeah, you know, like I said, you get rid of João Felix, you get Conor Gallagher, you get a Julian Alvarez, who's looking to prove himself, into the mix with Antoine Griezmann, uh, with Koke, with the team that they already have. I think it is an interesting set of moves that I think makes them significantly better. Um, and so I like that. I will say though, not being able to have a preseason with all these guys is going to at least have them start a little bit slow. But I think Atletico Madrid will still be in the conversation. So I think that there is still that. My losers, I got PSG. I think PSG. Once again, you let Kylian Mbappe go for free. At the end of the day, that is just unacceptable by all means. You had plenty of opportunities to sell him to Real Madrid, and you just didn't do it. And I think that is a big loss for PSG. Because if you have Kylian, I'll say this, Borussia Dortmund got something for Erling Haaland. You know, they didn't leave. They didn't get empty. They didn't leave empty. Haaland didn't leave empty-handed for Borussia Dortmund. They got something out of it. So I think that PSG just bad business on their part to not capitalize on having a player like Kylian Mbappe and transferring him out when he had 1 year left on his contract. You knew he was gonna leave, and Real Madrid was giving you offers, and you guys didn't jump on it. Yes, PSG. That to me is the biggest loss of them all. To me, that was a prime opportunity to get a lot of money back, and use that money that you could have been spending on towards getting some more players. Yeah. So, I mean, PSG is still going to win their league, but I'm just saying that it was a failed missed opportunity to let Kylian Mbappe go and get nothing out of it. So that's just my thoughts on that one. And I would also argue, as an Arsenal supporter, but yes, Arsenal are also losers on this transfer window. I do like the signing of Cagliari. Wait, is that what his name is? It's okay. This is great podcasting. Just looking up people's names. Um, Calafiori. I do like Calafiori. I think he's a good addition to the team, but I don't really necessarily think that Arsenal needed another defender. I think what Arsenal needed was to get that surefire nine, because we know that Gabby Jesus just hasn't been him, just hasn't been it. I think Kai Havertz has been interesting, and I mean he has been scoring goals, so I mean there is that. But at the end of the day, that was all you needed to go after, and you didn't. You didn't go after that. I mean, yes, you brought in Raheem Sterling. I think I'm more puzzled by getting Raheem Sterling than I am intrigued by it, because do they really need another winger? I mean, Martinelli and Trossard have been very serviceable. I think Saka is going to be on the right wing, and he's probably going to play full 90 minutes majority of the season. So for me, I don't know what exactly Raheem Sterling brings to the table, but yeah, I like I said, it's just a missed opportunity for Arsenal to improve. That was to me the only position that needed to get addressed in this offseason. And then yes, I do like Mikel Merino, but once again, I mean this midfield, there's a lot of midfielders on this team already. I mean does he? I feel like he would basically take at least Thomas Partey's spot in the midfield. But yeah, I just didn't think it wasn't a signing that needed to like I said, the big signing that needed to be addressed was getting a 9, and they didn't get a 9. So yes, I am considering Arsenal losers for this transfer window. And yes, it does hurt as an Arsenal supporter. Do I think they're going to do still fairly well? Yes, I do. But like I said, they were missing. They needed to get a 9. They didn't get a 9, so that is a missed opportunity. We'll see what happens in the January transfer window. Best signing in my opinion was Julian Alvarez. I think that was the best signing to get. He wants to prove himself. He wants to go somewhere that's going to give him the minutes that he wants. He wants to play. He wants to be the guy up top. And he's going to a place where I feel is going to put him up top. So I think Julian Alvarez definitely was the best signing. I think him and Atletico Madrid could work out fairly well, especially with him and Antoine Griezmann pairing up. So I think Julian Alvarez, best signing of the summer. Yes, I understand once again, Mbappe did happen. I don't think Mbappe is going to be this transcending signing for Real Madrid, because Real Madrid was already a great team. Like, he doesn't improve the team necessarily. And honestly, from what we've been seeing in the issues with the front three, there's still things that needs to work on. There is things that they're still working on trying to get that chemistry going. So yes, I'm sticking with Julian Alvarez as the best signing of this transfer window. Worst signing, Pedro Neto. I do not get this move. I don't get this move at all, because initially I was like, all right, cool. Chelsea went and got Pedro Neto. But then you go and get João Felix. What are we doing? What are we doing, Chelsea? Like, what is this? Like, at this, like, you're already getting made fun of for having so many players in your locker room, and you keep bringing in guys that don't necessarily have to be there. And I mean, some people have some theories that maybe the coach wanted Pedro Neto, but the board wanted João Felix, and I mean, that could be a thing. I know Enzo was talking about João Felix as a 9. I mean, I don't know. It was crazy to me. To me, it's crazy. But we'll see what happens, man. Yeah, to me, that's the worst signing. I would argue Raheem Sterling as the worst signing as well, but I'm gonna be optimistic with Raheem Sterling. I think he's still a fairly serviceable player. Names to keep an eye on, and the only reason why I say Pedro Neto is because they don't need him. Like, Chelsea doesn't need. They have so many wingers. It's crazy right now. And if you count João Felix as a winger, that just, once again, yeah, it's just stupid. But names to keep an eye on for January, I'm going to say Santi Jimenez. He is staying once again at Feyenoord for at least for another half season. I think that is something that people need to keep an eye on with Santi Jimenez. Is he able to keep performing over there with Feyenoord? It is a new coach because Arne Slot is now with Liverpool. But I do think that if he's still able to keep his form that he had last year with Feyenoord, Santi Jimenez could be possibly one of those names that you think of for the January transfer window. Am I overhyping Santi Jimenez a bit? Probably, but he's honestly a guy that's I feel like is due for a move. This is obviously, I'm not Mexican. I'm a U.S. soccer supporter, but Santi Jimenez has been someone that I have been keeping an eye on because I personally do think the guy is very talented as a striker. And I think he does. I do think that he's gotten all that he could have from the Eredivisie, and he needs to test himself in another league, whether it's the Serie A, whether it's the Bundesliga, whether it's the Premier League, whether it's La Liga, any of the big fives. Like, he just needs to go and test himself in the next level. And so I think Santi Jimenez is a name to keep an eye on for January. If he's having another good season with Feyenoord, I could see him getting shipped out to another team that is in desperate need of a striker. So I'll just go with that. So those are transfers. The transfer window. I think that I think it's, like I said, in general, I think was a very dry transfer period. And which is crazy to say that it's dry when and I think the reason why I don't really talk so much highly about the Mbappe signing, not because I'm not excited about Mbappe being at Real Madrid. I'm very happy that Real Madrid finally got Mbappe. I think it's because we've always known he was coming to Real Madrid. So like it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe I can't believe they got him. It was like, okay, it's about fucking time that we got him. This has been a thing happening for years now that they were trying to get Mbappe. So like for me, it wasn't like, oh my God, we got Mbappe. Crazy how we got Mbappe. It wasn't that. I think kind of like if I had to compare it to the Haaland signing, right? Everyone's like, where's Haaland going to go? Is he going to go to Manchester City where his dad played? Is he going to go to Manchester United? Is he going to go to Barcelona? Is he going to go to Real Madrid? Everyone was wondering where he was going to end up, and he ended up in Manchester City. And I mean, some people were like, he's going to go where his dad played. He's going to go where his dad played. And I mean, rightfully so. But still, it was interesting to see the possibility. You were still trying to weigh out the possibilities of maybe he goes to this club instead of that club. And I think that was kind of where that was more exciting than anything else. In this one, there was no mystery. We all knew he was going to Real Madrid. I know people were trying to say that Chelsea was potentially a move, Arsenal was potentially a move, Barcelona was like everyone kept trying to throw it out there. But at the end of the day, we all knew he was going to Real Madrid. So that's where, and I still say, like, despite that, very dry transfer window. Probably one of the driest transfer windows I've ever had seen. And yeah, I stand by that statement. I don't think it was necessarily an amazing transfer window where we had these spectacular signings. Real Madrid didn't necessarily. I mean, Real Madrid was rumored for a lot of players. Alphonso Davies, who stayed put, and that's the other thing. A lot of players just stayed put. A lot of guys didn't end up going. They just stayed with their club. Weston McKennie was supposed to leave. Was set to go. Apparently, Juve was trying to let ship him out. He got an extension. So, like, yes, a very dry transfer window, and I stand by it. I stand by it 100%. It was a very dry transfer window, and I'll leave it at that. But all right, we're gonna take a break, and then we'll go right into the U.S. men's national team camp.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
All right, guys, we're back. So, U.S. men's national team, their friendlies after the Greg Berhalter era starts September 7th versus Canada in Kansas City, Missouri, and September 10th versus New Zealand in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is, once again, the start of the new era. Pochettino has not been signed yet, but from what I've been reading, Pochettino has been helping out in the selection process for this U.S. men's team. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see if we see a little bit of Pochettino's tactics being applied. But all right, let's get going. So goalkeepers, we got Ethan Horvath from Cardiff City. We have Diego Kochen from FC Barcelona 2, Patrick Schulte from Columbus Crew, and Matt Turner from Crystal Palace. I think pretty straightforward, man, as far as goalkeepers go. Matt Turner, I think it's Matt Turner. I think Matt Turner is going to be the starting goalkeeper. Ethan Horvath is probably the backup. Patrick Schulte will be the third string. And I think Diego Kochen is just there to learn. Obviously, this is the American that's over there at Barcelona. Everyone's very intrigued by him. A lot of people are already like, oh, he's our future goalkeeper, forgetting that Gaga Slonina even exists. So I think it's an interesting name to bring in, to have him come into the U.S., to come to the U.S. camp and learn from Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath, and even Patrick Schulte, who I think has done very well. Obviously was the starting goalkeeper for the Olympic team. So I think very, very intriguing setup right there. All right, so defenders, we got Austin Trusty, who just recently got a move to Celtic. Marlon Fossey, who currently plays at Standard Liège over in Belgium. Christopher Lund from Palermo is coming back to the U.S. team. Mark McKenzie, that just made the move to Toulouse in France. Tim Ream, the new Charlotte FC man, is also getting called up. Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Caleb Wiley, who did get transferred to Chelsea, but did get loaned out to Strasbourg in France. No, Sergino Dest because he's still dealing with an injury, I believe. As well as Jedi Anthony Robinson also as well. I think are dealing with some injuries, so that's why they're not getting called up for this one. I think this is a very interesting set of defenders. Joe Scally, probably be the guaranteed starter. Be intrigued by Caleb Wiley. I think Marlon Fossey and Christopher Lund could be someone to keep a close eye on. I think we're definitely going to see Tim Ream start. I think that you don't bring him up unless you're planning on starting him. Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie are the two guys that I think of. Austin Trusty could be an interesting name for sure as far as the back line goes. Midfield, we got Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. He was rumored to go to Tottenham. Thank God that didn't happen. Luca De La Torre from Celta Vigo over in Spain as well. Aiden Morris, the man that just got moved to Middlesbrough. Yunus Musa from AC Milan. Gio Reyna from Borussia Dortmund. I think it's interesting that they labeled him as a midfielder. And Malik Tillman from PSV Eindhoven. Weston McKennie is not featured. I think he's also dealing with some injury issues. But I think that this opens up an opportunity to see how deep this team is and what exactly we're getting for the midfield. Are we going to see a 10? Because like I said, we know the formation that Partito prefers is the 4-2-3-1 formation. Could this be where we see a Cam? Maybe Johnny Cardoso and Yunus Musa and Gio Reyna midfield. Do we see that? Aiden Morris, probably another holding midfielder type. Luca Del Torre, also someone to be looking at. But you do have 2 10s here with Gio Reyna and Malik Tillman. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see what exactly, and one that can also play a little bit of a 10 in Yunus Musa. So I think that that's an interesting group of midfielders. The forwards, we got Brendan Aronson from Leeds United, Florian Balogun from Monaco, Ricardo Pepi from PSV Eindhoven, Christian Pulisic from Italy, Josh Sargent getting a call up as well, and Haji Wright from Coventry City. I'm very intrigued by this. Obviously, Christian Pulisic, guaranteed starter. The way I'm seeing it, bro, because there's a lot of 9s. Brendan Aronson might be the other winger unless they choose to put Gio Reyna on the opposite side of the wing, or you can also have Yunus Musa there as well. But it is a lot of strikers. Haji Wright, Josh Sargent, who can also play on the wing. Balogun and Ricardo Pepi. That is a total of 4 9s, ideally. So I think that this is going to be a very interesting to see how these formations are lined up. But if I had to say, if it is the 4-2-3-1 formation that I'm thinking of, goalkeeper, I think it's Matt Turner. I'm just gonna say that right there. I think Matt Turner is the starting goalkeeper. For your back line, I think you're gonna have Joe Scally at right back. I think you'll have Chris Richards and Tim Ream as your center back pairing. Maybe Mark McKenzie, switch Mark McKenzie and Chris Richards, and then on left, I would like to see Caleb Wiley, but I think we're gonna see Christopher Lund. Christopher Lund on that left side, but it could be Caleb Wiley depending on how he does in camp. The midfield, I'm gonna say we have Gio Reyna at the 10, and then Johnny Cardoso and Yunus Musa being that back 2. But I feel like Yunus Musa will see him be moved a little more freely in the midfield. But whereas Johnny Cardoso will be your 6, your actual, your destroyer. Forwards, I'm gonna say we're gonna have Brendan Aronson on the right, Christian Pulisic on the left, and I'm gonna see, this is the interesting part, right? Because Balogun and Pepi maybe not necessarily having as much minutes as they can right now with their teams. Josh Sargent and Haji Wright have been getting minutes. Do we see a Haji Wright, or do we see Josh Sargent? I think that could be interesting. I will say if things stay the same with the U.S., maybe it's Ricardo Pepi and then Balogun starting and then Pepi coming off the bench. So it's interesting, right? very interesting how this is gonna look. But I'm gonna say Balogun starts at the 9th spot for the US. So I can't wait. Like I said, September 7th versus Canada in Kansas City, Missouri. September 10th versus New Zealand in Cincinnati, Ohio. Man, I can't wait to see what this new US team is gonna look like for sure. Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a great ticketing site to get all your needs for live events such as sports and concerts. It has a very easy grading system using colors. If it's red, that means go look elsewhere. You're going to find a better deal. And if it's green, that means this is a great deal. Go ahead and buy these tickets. That's where I go buy all my tickets for all my sporting events. It is very convenient, and yeah, so far have gotten the best prices on that site. And if you guys want to make things even better, you guys use the code BellyUpSports at SeatGeek.com. You'll save yourself $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. So thank you again, SeatGeek. Use that code BellyUpSports and save $20 off your first purchase. Edwards Player of the Week is Rafinha, who, since Hansi Flick came in, has become a revelation. He scores a hat-trick and an assist in Barcelona's 7-0 victory against Real Valladolid. And my Player of the Week, back-to-back, Erling Haaland scores a hat-trick in Manchester City's 3-1 win against West Ham United. So hat-trick duo here in Rafinha and Erling Haaland. So congratulations to Rafinha and Erling Haaland for being our Players of the Week. Make sure you guys, once again, go to SeatGeek.com. Use that code BellyUpSports to save yourselves $20 off your first purchase. All right, guys, we got games to watch this weekend. That outside of the international matches, we had the Houston Dynamo taking on LAFC in the MLS. We also got the Vancouver Whitecaps versus FC Dallas, a very important playoff implications in that one. And the Columbus Crew taking on the Seattle Sounders over there in the MLS. We also have some USL matchup. We got Charleston Battery taking on Sacramento Republic. Really, two teams that are really doing well right now in the USL. Keep an eye on that matchup if you guys want to learn a little bit about the USL. Internationally, man. All right, Friday, we got Jamaica versus Cuba. Maybe we see Mason Greenwood. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Honduras versus Trinidad and Tobago. We got France versus Italy. Slovenia versus Austria. Uruguay versus Paraguay. How will they do without their key players? Brazil versus Ecuador. Ivory Coast versus Zambia. And Morocco versus Gabon. Saturday, we got USA versus Canada. Mexico versus New Zealand. Ireland versus England. And Ukraine versus Albania. Sunday, we got El Salvador taking on Bonaire. That's a nice callback to one of our previous episodes. Denmark versus Serbia. Croatia versus Poland. Portugal versus Scotland. Switzerland versus Spain. And Angola versus Sudan. Those are some matches to keep an eye on this weekend, man. I know that it's not all the matches, but it is a good beginner's guide for you soccer lovers out there, man. So go ahead and check it out, man. But, all right, we'll go ahead and take one more break, and then we'll wrap the show up with 3 Up, 3 Down League One kits. Let me tell you guys about BellyUpSports. BellyUpSports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. BellyUpSports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys. 3 up, 3 down, the League One kits. Nobody's out here with me to do this one, so it's going to be me riding solo. But still, I want to keep this tradition going, so I'm going to make sure that we keep this league going. So I don't know why I had to say that in so many different ways. But here we are. All right. Starting off with the 3 downs. So on my number 3 worst kit, I have Lille's away kit. And I am not going to lie to you, man. It is why do I not like this kit? I'm like looking it up right now. I don't like it because it's just too like, yes, it's a little different because they have the pattern going on in the white, but it's just, I think if it was just a plain white jersey, I would have liked it more. Especially when you have like the blacked out Leon badge. This would have looked cooler if that pattern was there, in my opinion. But that's just because I like a white kid, so that's just my opinion. My second is RC Lens, and why I don't like this kid. It's just a green shirt. That's really what it is. It's just a green shirt with the RC Lens patch and the outshot. So it's nothing really spectacular to me. So yeah, very boring. And my last one is Montpierre's home. And the reason why I don't like this one, it's just ew. Like, that's really what it is to me. Um, this doesn't look. It looks like a biker, like one of those like Tour de France bike jerseys more than it really is an actual jersey. So that's my number one is Montpierre's kid. Just not. It's just very just bland, just very Um, but my three up, man. My first one is AS Monaco's third kit, and I will tell you, man, I love just like basically what I didn't like about the little kid is what I like about the Monaco kit. It is very clean. It does have a pattern to it, but I just love it. It's just the white with the blackout Monaco badge. Just to me, clean as possible. Once again, I am a sucker for white kits because I am a Madridista. My number two is Olympic Marseille's away. Which I mean, I always gotta somehow pick a Marseille jersey. I just have to. And the away kit, I mean, Olympic Marseille has a pretty clean jersey in my opinion, but the away kit, the blue with the lighter blue on the collar and the sleeves, and the gold just makes just look really nice to me. This is a very clean jersey. I like it, solid. And my number one is AX Auxire's home kit. This to me is clean. I love the sash around it with the design. I think that this is a very clean jersey. Yes, the badge does get a little camouflage into it, but I still like it despite that. And yeah, very clean jersey, just solid. It's kind of funny because it does make me think of Honduras, but yeah, solid jersey all around, man. So that is my 3 up, 3 down for Ligue 1. Next week we'll do Bundesliga. So maybe I can get somebody on to do this segment with me as well. But want to give a shout out to the Belly Up Podcast Network. Check out their website, BellyUpSports.com. Great articles constantly being written. NFL's kicking is back. Baseball's near its tail end, going right into the path to the playoffs. WNBA, there's a lot of craziness with WNBA. College football, man. Lots to be discussed at Belly Up Sports, man. So check them out. Lots of articles being written. Follow them on Instagram and X at Belly Up Media and at Belly Up Sports. Also, check out GolzTV, man. GolzTV is an amazing streaming platform for all things American and some international soccer content made by original content creators like myself, like Jose Tejas, like Rave Green TV, like Austin Fan TV. Like a lot of great content being made out there. You'll see me in some of their original content, like Wake Up MLS and Yanks at the Round Table. So go ahead and check them out, man. Over there at GolzTV. Go on Instagram at golz.tv and at X at golz_TV to get in on all the information over there at Golz. Also, shout out to Roosevelt Spencer, man, the namesake of the Roosevelt Spencer's Player of the Year Award. We love him so much. He does so much for us. Also, happy birthday to Spencer. So check all his hard work, man. If you guys love the beats and intros for this podcast and you guys want some beats of your own, hit him up at That Guy Dope. Once again, at That Guy Dope. He'll take great care of you like he always does with us. But that is episode 185. Thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week for episode 186, where there's still more footy to talk about, and I can't wait for it. All right, take care, guys.